Hello and welcome back to Popcorn Chat. In this video I'm going to be speaking about The French Dispatch, which was another film I was able to see at the London Film Festival. I was very excited to see this film after its delayed release, and hopefully this video is going to give you a bit of an insight in a non-spoiler way and sort of entice you to go and see it when you can very soon in the cinema. So what's The French Dispatch about? So we follow a publishing team that decide to post a memorial edition demonstrating their 3 most interesting stories of the last decade. So let's talk about some of the positives of this film. I really like how Wes Anderson was able to put some of his newer sort of actors that he's got in his repertoire in the foreground and put some of those more regular cast members a little bit into some minimal roles such as Owen Wilson and Jason Schwartzman. With any Wes Anderson film you're going to get beautiful visuals, and this film is no exception. The set designs, the costumes, the colour palettes are all beautiful within this film, and everything is done specifically to help to add to the narrative, may it be in black and white in a moment or in colour. Everything adds to the narrative. It's another beautiful cinematic film to add to his filmography. I do like the fact that Wes Anderson added a lot more 2D animation within this film. I think it really added to moments when maybe he had a bigger idea for these characters, sort of, on a chase scene or explosions. That's when animation is really sort of key. If they don't have the same budget for that, it works a bit more. And also it's allowing other sort of creators to sort of express their own sort of art style and just have a mixed sort of media, which he's very familiar to in his other pieces of work. So let's talk about some of the negatives of this film. In previous films, Wes Anderson introduces you to individual narratives and ultimately they will cross paths down the line. However, that didn't really happen in this film, so that felt a bit obscure compared to his previous sort of filmography, and I think it would have worked a lot better if those sort of characters somehow cross paths. I'm not sure, because obviously they're reflecting on the best stories in the last sort of decade. But if there was a way in which they could have crossed over, like having Grand Budapest, for example, I think that would have worked a little bit better in this film. So regarding the film structure, you have this bookend with the sort of publishing company, and in between that you have these 3 stories that are the main chunk of the film. And within those 3 stories, I definitely think the first one is the best, and I think it's really interesting, the sort of narrative it was looking at and the emotional sides of sort of criminals, and I think that in itself could have been a short film and could have won, that could have won loads of awards. And he likes to do short films before, like in the Darjeeling Unlimited. That's when we've sort of seen him do something like that, and I think that could have been its own film and it should have just been left there. The second story is also fairly good. However, the third one really lacked something for me. I think that one, even though it had those sort of familiar characters we've seen within Wes Anderson's film, I think that one was the less sort of emotional and character-driven story, whereas the first 2 at least had a lot more to say, I felt. So all in all, I did enjoy this film. I think I was a little bit disappointed in terms of the sort of outcome of this. I didn't know much. I seen the trailer, but I still didn't really know the concept. So I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that it felt very samey to a lot of Wes Anderson's films. He has a large filmography and they all seem to sort of follow this sort of pattern a little bit, and sort of the way they look at sort of relationships and dynamics between people. And I'd like to see him do something different. Whether he does something different, I do not know. I would love for Wes Anderson to do something more of a horror. I think he could really use that sort of cinematography and storytelling method that he is, uniquely defined within his own category. I think that could be really well applied to a horror category, and I'd love to see him do something like that. But at the end of the day, it's his own art style, it's his own creative, and people are going to go and watch those films because he's got such a cult following. So whether he changes, I'm not sure. I think people are getting a little bit sick of this style, possibly. There's some fans that I'm sure, would completely disagree and love his films and think he should keep doing the same sort of style. However, I'd like to see more from Wes Anderson. I think he has a lot more to give than that same sort of topics and aesthetics that we've seen over the last few years. Saying that, I did think this film was pretty fun, so I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of The French Dispatch. Hopefully you're going to see it very soon, wherever you may be. And let me know your thoughts on The French Dispatch. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think Wes Anderson maybe should go in a different direction? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys very soon in another Popcorn Chat.